Good evening and welcome. You're watching Newsbreak. I'm Sanket Upadhyay. Let's talk about the monsoon. Yes, you may have seen images of devastation because of floods in some parts of North India, even in the eastern parts of the country. But in the western and central parts, believe it or not, it is the driest, hottest August yet. It's the warmest, driest month in India since 1901. Rain in central India and southern peninsula is the lowest in 122 years. These are staggering statistics. The August rain is at 162.7 millimeters versus the 254.9 millimeter normal. So imagine the deficit. El Nino and the Madden-Julian oscillation are the two concepts that have been cited for rain deficit. Now my point is that these complicated words may confuse you, but let us quickly tell you the impact of what is happening because of this deficient rainfall. Madhya Pradesh's rain deficit is 18% below normal. Between the 1st of June and the 1st of September, 47 of 53 districts reported below normal rainfall. 29 of the 53 districts face serious rain deficit. 21 to 46% rain deficit was there in 29 worst hit districts. 40 to 46% rain deficit happened in Satna, Mandsaur and Ashok Nagar. 21% rain deficit in Sihor and Vidisha. And this has had its impact also on the agriculture. Before we move any further and tell you about the other state, would like to play out this report by my colleague Anurag Dwari from this rain deficit Madhya Pradesh and its impact.
From greenery all around to desperate farmers destroying their own standing crops, things have changed drastically for Madhya Pradesh farmers. In a monsoon season marked by low rainfall and the driest ever August. 29 of MP's 53 districts, that over 50%, have faced a serious rain deficiency this monsoon. The biggest losers, farmers who sowed soybean, a major kharif crop of Madhya Pradesh contributing over 60% in total national production. Farmers says it's not just deficient rainfall but long power cuts affecting tube well irrigation are also not helping.
सोयाबीन नरसंग पीरी पीरी पड़ रही है, पानी नहीं पड़ी रही है, बदल सड़ी सड़ी नहीं रहा, पर पड़े तो फसल वे कई वे सब फजे नहीं है, सब पीरी पीरी पड़ी है, कई फजे नहीं आई रही, खाली ये बोबा है, जो ये खराब भी रहा, नहीं आ रहा, पानी नहीं आवेगा इंदर देख, तो यार ढांडा डोर हाँकना पड़ेगा, कई करा साहब कटा हुआ का खर्चो 50-60 रुपया लगी गया, यो लागी लागत ही बेटी नहीं वे
बहुत हो गया ना। अब इतना 2 कुंटल हमारा वो ऐसा वो खत्म हो गया था। हाँ।
और कितनी जगह पर लगाया था?
हमने 4 जगह लगाए थे।
चारों जगह स्थिति है?
हाँ, 4 जगह से।
Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who will lead the BJP into the high-profile state election in months, had held emergency meetings over the issue and has also sought divine intervention, offering prayers at famous Mahakaleshwar temple in Ujjain.
अल्प वर्षा के कारण लगभग अगस्त माह पूरा सूखा गया है और इसलिए अब सूखे की स्थिति मध्य प्रदेश में पैदा हो रही है और फसलों पर संकट छाया है। जहां जहां से बांधों से पानी छोड़कर अभी फसलें बचाई जा सकती है, उन बांधों से पानी छोड़ा जाए, छोड़ रहे हैं हम लोग।
पूरा का पूरा खत्म हो गया।
The Congress, the ruling BJP's biggest challenge in the state polls, has demanded immediate compensation for farmers.
शासन से, बैंक से, इनसे सबसे
सरकार जिन कंपनियों को, बीमा कंपनियों को लाभ मिला है, उनसे वापस इनको मुआवजा दिलवाएं, प्रयास करें। 7 घंटे आप बिजली की बात करते फिर भी अघोषित कटौती करते हो। बिजली के बढ़े हुए लगभग अद्भुत बिल है, इस नाम पे बिजली काटी जा रही है।
With the rain deficiency having a negative bearing on the kharif crop just 2.5 months before the elections, the ruling BJP leaders are concerned. The development is also slowly turning into a poll issue, though a few spells of rain in coming weeks could be seen as a saver in reducing the losses. However, the total production is set to decline this season. In Bhopal, with camera person Rizwan Khan, Anurag Dwari for Ndtv.
Imagine the sad state of affairs in Madhya Pradesh where farmers have to destroy their own crops because, and exactly like this, because of bad produce. It has gone wrong. It has it has gone bad. And why? Because of rain deficiency. This is the same or similar situation in neighboring Maharashtra as well, which is also rain deficit. 60% rain deficit in the month of August. 14% rain deficit between June and August. 376 blocks reported over 21 day of dry spell. 484 blocks reported 15 to 21 day of dry spell. And the agricultural production was hit despite 39% surplus in July. So 1 month of less rain, see what it can do from surplus to a sudden impact on agriculture. Now, water tanker supply to villages is 50 times more than last year, which means the prosperous farmers are trying to use water tankers. But what about those who are not prosperous? Just like Madhya Pradesh, soybean farmers in Maharashtra are also in distress. Scanty rainfall in August has just added to the problem, as we just mentioned. The government says that their priority is to provide drinking water. Let's quickly take a look at this report filed by my colleague Sohit Mishra.
Troubled by scanty rain during the monsoon season, Anna Sahib Mate has raised his own soybean crop with a tractor. He first sowed soybean on his 4-acre land in the Dongaran area of Ahmednagar in June. The crop was destroyed due to deficient rain. He tried again in July, hoping for better results, but to no avail. He has suffered a loss of about 1.5 lakh rupees.
2 महिने पीक झाल्यानंतर आता एक अर्ध फुल आलं, पाऊस नसल्यामुळे ते फुलगळ होऊन गेली तिला. फुलगळ झाल्यानंतर आता परत जरी पाऊस झाला तर परत सोयाबीनला डबल फुल धारणं होत नाही. मग त्याच्यामुळे ते रोटा मारण्यात पहिली पेरणी केली त्यावेळेस सगळ्याला 1 लाख रुपये खर्च आला. डबल पेरणी करायची वेळ आली त्याच्यामुळे 50,000 रुपये लागली.
It's not just Ahmednagar. Many parts of Marathwada are reeling under drought-like conditions. Plants are drying up. Water is not available for irrigation or for animals. Many areas are already relying on tankers.
शेतकऱ्याचं या कांद्यावर याच्यावरच असतं अवलंबून जीवन. पाऊस नाही, पाणी नाही. हे पिकं जरी मोडले तरी आम्हाला दुसरे पिकं आता कधी पेरणार, कधी येणार? आता आम्ही काय करायचं? आम्ही कशावर जगायचं? आम्हाला काही सरकारने मदत करावी.
लाखो रुपयाचा खर्च व्हायला गेलेला आहे. त्याच्यामुळे शेतकऱ्याला आत्महत्या केल्याशिवाय पर्याय नाही. आणि सध्या शासनाकडे काय चाललेलं आहे, याची टीका करायची, त्यांनी त्याची टीका एकमेकावर कुरघोडी करायचं, एकमेकाला ताकद दाखवायचा प्रयत्न चालू आहे.
According to data from the Maharashtra Water Department, nearly 85% water was available in dams last year, but this year, water levels have dropped below 65%. While 86% water was available last year in the dams of the Aurangabad region, this year just 37% water is available. The government has ordered officials to prioritize drinking water, water for animals and fodder.
सरासरीच्या 50% पेक्षा कमी मागील वर्षीच्या तुलनेत पाऊस आपल्याला जिल्ह्यामध्ये मिळालेला आहे. 5% विमा क्षेत्र सर्वेक्षण करण्याबाबत आदेश निर्गमित केलेले आहे आणि त्या अनुषंगानं आपल्या 14ही तालुक्यांमध्ये सर्वेक्षणाची कार्यवाही सुरू आहे.
सध्या आम्ही 60 टँकरद्वारे सध्या पाणी पुरवठा सुरू केलेला आहे जिल्ह्यामध्ये. जनावर असतील, माणसं असतील, त्यांना पाणी पुरवठ्याच्या अनुषंगाने विविध उपाययोजना करण्याचं नियोजन सध्या चालू आहे.
Even before the monsoon season is over, Maharashtra is facing a water crisis that is only going to get worse. With Sagar Dusal in Ahmednagar, camera person Rajendra Dayalkar and Sohit Mishra, Bureau Report, NDTV.
So what do we do? Did we not see this coming, and what sort of relief can be provided to these farmers who are facing the compulsion of raising their own crops? Imagine the plight of a farmer to do something like this to his own crop. Devendra Sharma is a food policy expert. Prakash Chand Sharma is a leader of the BJP closely affiliated with the Kisan Morcha. We also have Mr. Anil Ghanwat. He was a member of the Supreme Court appointed Committee on Farm Laws and the president of the Swatantra Bharat Party. Thank you very much. Mr. Ghanwat, I want to begin with you first. Can you suggest to us what went wrong is something that we already know. It rained less. But what sort of relief could have been provided to these farmers, or can still be provided, to make sure that we can mitigate some of the damage which has been caused?
Actually, there isn't much that can be done, because what we need is rain, and that's not in hands of any human being unless we have some technology for artificial rains. Next thing we can do is, first priority the government says is the drinking water. That has to be a priority, and the supply of tankers will be started or has started in some districts. But the crops which are in the fields, and due to scanty rains, they are almost on the verge of being damaged, and some farmers have already tried, have started uprooting their crops and getting rid of them. They are feeding it to the cattle. Now, what the government should do is give monetary help to the farmers who are in distress today. There is nothing else that can be done because we don't have water in the dams. The dam in which is supplying water to our area has only 22% water, and that has to be stored for drinking purpose. So I don't think the government can do much in supplying water for irrigation. But in this situation, what can be done is help the farmers with monetary aid, because they have to pull on for the whole year, because they don't have any crop in their hand, they don't have any income. So how will they feed their children, their schooling, their other expenses? So monetary help per acre should be given to the farmer. That's only what can be done. And ample regular supply of drinking water to the affected areas. That's what should be prioritized, and the government should do. That's what I think.
Okay. Mr. Devendra Sharma, do you feel that, the basics to provide drinking water, as Mr. Ghanwat said, is the priority? That is fine. But is that all that can be done in a situation like this?
First of all, I must say that your report itself is very scary. I think the nation must wake up to the threat that the farmers face in the central and the southern parts of India. We who live in the northwestern have no idea, because we were faced recently with floods, and suddenly we see reports of people suffering or farmers suffering in the rest of the country. I think it is something that we need to awaken people with, and thank you for this report, first of all, Sanket. Now, having said this, I think there are a couple of things we must be very clear. First, yes, we knew that El Nino is going to strike in the second half of the monsoon season, and that will linger on till the I would say the winter months also, which means the Rabi crop is also likely to be impacted with the El Nino, which means it is going to worsen the rainfall pattern or the supply of water. And we also know that just now we have seen, as you reported, that August month 35% shortfall in rain for grain, and this is of course the worst shortfall that we have seen since 1901 that you have said. And I think it is quite clear that the El Nino pattern has already set in. Now, having said that, what can be done? I think we always say that there are short-term and there are long-term possibilities. But if we look at Maharashtra, I think it is still very, very shocking to understand that in one district alone, Chandrapur, 73 farmer suicides have happened this particular year. We have seen in Vidarbha region about 1,500 farmers committing suicide. Another report tells us that 7 farmers are dying. If you look at the average, 7 farmers are dying every day in Maharashtra for the last 10 years. Now, if this kind of tragedy faces us, and on the other hand, we also see in states like even Tamil Nadu, farmers are dumping their bhindi into the ponds because they are not getting the right price. We have seen reports of farmers plowing coriander and so on recently. But we also know of what the government's initiatives to raise export duties on onion and so on, primarily to ensure that there is no shortage of supplies. We always wake up when there is a shortage of supply or when the inflation goes up, but we never wake up when there is a distress in agriculture sector. And I think even now you will see everyone will talk about, yes, we need to help the farmers, but eventually, as was mentioned earlier also, we need to provide an economic stimulus
package. But Mr. Devendra Sharma, do you feel that it will be some sort of a silver lining now? Of course, we are talking about August. Now we are in September, the 4th of September it is. And suddenly things are looking good, at least on the rain front, because there seems to be a brief monsoon revival. Let's see if we can have those graphics on screen right now, as I will ask my question to Mr. Prakash Chand Sharma. The IMD, or the Indian Met Department, has forecast normal rainfall in September. The IMD says 91 to 109% rainfall is predicted in September. So the damage that was done in August, some amount of recovery could be possible in the month of September. But Prakash Chand Sharma, do you think it's going to be as simple as that? Let's just take, for instance, the plight of the soybean farmers. And they are found in abundance in parts of Maharashtra and in Madhya Pradesh. In fact, that's a majority, I mean, a major chunk of the farmers, what they grow in Madhya Pradesh is soybean. And that requires a lot of water. And many of them have already, they've just raised their own crops because it's unfeasible for them. It's practically not possible for them to continue farming. So do you feel that this little respite in the rain from the weather god is going to be any good news for these farmers?
Sanket, 2-3 aspects of the whole report and the matter you ask is a matter of concern, because from the long term we are seeing the climate change impact is coming and the government is preparing accordingly, either on the short term or on the long term. As far as the agriculture of this center part is concerned, you are talking about Madhya Pradesh, you are talking about Maharashtra. Yes, it's a matter of concern, but we are seeing the cycle of this climate change every 4 year, 5 year. This is getting repeated. And in that particular matter, government is concerned on a two front. One is the short term, and another is the long term. Short term, yes, the Fasal Bima scheme is there. Government is trying to, aware the people about the sustainable agriculture, where the less water they can use and the alternative, the crops they can develop. And accordingly, the financial aid and the surveys and all they are doing on a long-term part, so that whatever the losses are there, government is able to, maintain it just to make them reimburse, so that their livelihood should not get impacted by that way. Yes, drinking water is a part of that. So government is also trying by putting the containers, because drinking, that is the most concerned part. So they are also trying to make them allow either through the Nal Jal Yojana or through other scheme, so water to be available to them. If I am talking about Marathwada, and in 2014, 53% rain was less. In 2018, 64% rain was less. And this time, till now, 50% rain is there. And we are waiting, like the IMA report you are talking about. So we are waiting we will get more rain and more relief will come. On the long-term plan, government is trying to make the river linkage scheme that is there. The dam water grid is there that Maharashtra is building, Madhya Pradesh is building, because we have to find the solution on a long term. This is a particular problem that is not in entirely hand of the government, because this is a God-driven part. Climate change, worldwide impact is there.
No, I agree. You're saying a long-term
solution
there,
has to because be, in G20 also this is a main agenda, how to counter this climate change.
I understand G20 long-term and all is fine, but Mr. Ganvat and Mr. Sharma, one by one, you see long-term sustainable solutions to these problems being faced by the farmers of drought. Sometimes, excessive rain also, floods is equally a big problem and challenge for the farmers. But Mr. Ganvat, let's take for instance something like a Fasal Bima Yojana or food or a crop insurance. Now, had that percolated down to these small farmers also, not the big farmers who can of course afford tankers also, then perhaps many of them would not have had to think of taking the drastic step of either raising their own crops or in extreme cases even dying by suicide.
Of course, no one should opt that type of alternative, but there are many problems in agriculture when there is shortage of water. For example, how to feed the cattle. People don't have fodder and they have to feed the cattle every day, and the fodder prices just shoot up. And because of the hike in the fodder prices, the farmer is unable to feed their cattle properly. So the government should start the cattle camps as early as possible and make arrangements for supply of fodder to the people. Secondly, there is a stage in the vegetative growth of the crop when it needs water. And if that stage arises and there is no water, the soybean crop is in flowering stage now, and there are no rains, so the crop is damaged already. Even if it rains after this, we won't get the expected yields and farmer is going to be at a loss. So even if it rains after this, now in most of the Maharashtra, the rainfall is 21 to 23% deficit than the average rainfall every year. So at this stage, what the government has to do is to set up the cattle camps, then offer some monetary aid to the farmers, and thirdly, the drinking water. I don't think the government has that kind of technology for artificial rains, which can assure the farmers that it's going to rain and their crop is going to regain the strength that is.
I think it's very interesting that you make these three suggestions, Mr. Ganvat. And Mr. Deven Sharma, have you heard of any of these things already happening or work in progress? I'll ask this question of Mr. Sharma also, Prakash Chand Sharma. But first, Mr. Deven, to you. Cattle camps, monetary aid and drinking water.
A few years back, when we had a severe drought, we had seen cattle camps being planned and set up, and even we have also read reports of lots of villagers coming and staying in the cattle camps, to ensure that they get the regular water supply and so on. So I think that is something the government will have to step in, and they must do it, because the first casualty whenever agriculture distress strikes farmers in such circumstances, it is the cattle which suffers first. And I think so there has to be emphasis on that. Second, of course, is the issue of crop insurance. I can't understand why the corporates have got a profit of 57,000 crores. And 57,000 crores, they are not even willing to shell out that money. There are a lot of protests happening in Haryana where farmers are protesting. They have not even got the compensation for 2 years. Now, that is what the farmers are demanding. So we have to put the system in the right place and right mechanism so that the farmers get or this insurance companies are able to take care of much of the problem that happens when there is a drought like this. A, B. And I think more important is when we talk of long term, I think when 20 years back we would talk of long term, people would say, oh, it can wait. Short term is more important. But I wish if the long term steps were taken then, it would have been long term by now. It would have been taken care by now. What I'm trying to say is, look at Maharashtra. Maharashtra's problem is actually accentuated by the irrigation diversity or the irrigation disparity. Why I'm saying this is only 4% crop is grown in sugarcane. Sugarcane occupies 4% of the area in Maharashtra and walks away with or takes away or sucks 70% of the water requirement, underground water requirement of Maharashtra. So as long as this will continue, I don't think we can ever put a kind of a drought map on the table to see that
how long term is long term, and what is the timeline to the long term? That is the point that Mr. Deven Sharma is making. Mr. Prakash Chand Sharma, before I come to you, I believe Mr. Ganvat had raised his hand. He wanted to say something. Yes, Mr. Ganvat.
Yes, I wanted to tell about the crop insurance scheme here in Maharashtra.
Yeah.
First, farmers had to pay some premium on the crop insurance of his crop. But now government of Maharashtra has announced that it will give insurance for the crops at only 1 rupee premium for the farmers. Now, if there is a clause that if it doesn't rain for 21 days, they will get the 25% amount. Now it's almost over a month that it hasn't rained, and the farmers are liable to get that amount, but nothing is happening. And as Dr. Devendra Sharma has said, that these insurance companies are making money. There is no management that is looking into their books that how these people are making money. If the farmer is in the position has to get that money, no agency is looking through their books and seeing that the farmer gets the amount that he has to get. So I don't think the insurance companies are
that's a very significant and important point that Mr. Ganvat is raising. Mr. Prakash Chand Sharma, would you like to respond? How are the insurance companies supposedly or reportedly making money if there is farmer distress?
No. See, we should understand one thing. It's very easy, to raise the concern and raise the question of any of the part. We should go with the solution. We all know agriculture is a very complex subject in India, area-wise, geographical-wise, financial-wise. So that is the reason, as far as we are talking about this, the crop insurance part. So their government is looking very to the point, and they are just trying to bring more accountability into it, more transparency into it, and more technology driven, so that it should be easier for any of the smallest to smallest farmer. So they should get benefit directly to the people.
And yet we hear of farmers committing suicide or dying by suicide, and yet we see pictures of them destroying their crops.
So numbers. I have a great objection about what Mr. Devendra Sharma has raised into it, Sanket.
Yeah,
because he is saying that daily 10 farmers are suiciding, and this is for the things long term. This is not truth. And on what basis he is saying it's a matter of concern? The reason being that India is a big country, and like the government is making educated on all three levels, either it is a district level or is a state level or is a central level. So many FPOs has been created. They have been trying to educate them to go for the alternative, alternative and sustainable farming, where you have put less
If governments and farmers all have to look heavenwards and seek divine intervention for rain, let us just hope September brings in some relief. Thank you very much for joining us, Deven Sharma, Prakashan Sharma and Mr. Anil Ganwat for joining us.